that I passed all my subjects. I was actually the academic boy for the year, the graduating class, and I didn't have electricity at home in Patrick Street.
Guys, welcome back to The Vault. Today we have a very special guest with us. This is the podcast where we explore insightful stories, impactful ideas, and the voices that shapes our community. Today, my very special guest is a young and dynamic individual, a very young politician who is making waves in our community. And I just want to make welcome, you heard it here first, Dr. Obryan Shampoo Leighton. Welcome to The Vault.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate the effort. It takes a lot for us to get a chance to meet, and I appreciate you, coming out to meet with some of your constituents.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yes. All right. So I have a few questions here, and as I told you guys many times, I'm old school, so I like to print out my notes, and we will just go through these questions as we get to learn a little bit more about you. But before we move in, I just want to know for my personal self, where does the name Shampoo come from?
It's a question asked a lot.
Yeah.
The reality is that, shampoo has a lot to do with cleanliness and stuff like that. So
yes.
In my earlier days, even though I'm not so much of an old person, at the age of 35, I remember going to a lot of optimist functions, and because of my leadership roles in that particular movement,
Right.
I tended to be one who would dress up a lot.
Clean.
So it's always the suit and the tie and the gentleman,
Yeah.
So my friends started, and then I love the ding dong dance shampoo, and I could do it well. So, yeah, they both tied in.
Yeah.
And it just made sense, and I love it.
Oh yeah.
Persons actually think it's my biological name. I don't know how. I don't know what.
Maybe because that's the only thing that they can, use to say, okay, so this is shampoo. I love that. So we're gonna just jump right in, and my very first question, it has to do with your career, and it is, what leadership qualities do you believe that is most important to you right now?
Integrity.
Yeah.
I've been a leader as far as basic school. I can recall. I actually grew up in Montego Bay. A lot of persons think that I was born and raised in
I thought you were a son of the soil.
Nah. Well, you see, when you blend in and you become a part of a community so easily, persons tend to think that. I remember one day walking on the street, and a man said, "My classmate, me, you got primary, I'm sure me never got primary school or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm Montegoan, and ever since I started basic school, even in the church, I'm at Montego Bay New Testament, I was always a leader. I was always leading in academics as well.
Right.
So it's something, but I value my integrity a lot. I'm scared to tarnish or damage that part of me. I have to protect what my mother instilled in me, and it's something that I pride myself on, integrity. I try to, in any leadership role that I'm a part of, to always keep the integrity intact. My character is very important to me. What is portrayed to the public is very important to me. Mark, you have many sides to me. You have the social side to Obryan. You have the leadership side, the professional side in the working world. There are many sides. But generally, I'm a jovial person. It's just that I value my integrity and the kind of attitudes and attributes instilled and values instilled from a tender age, from my mother, passed on to me.
Love that. Okay, so you said that you are original from Montego Bay. You went to school. Your early educational background is based in Montego Bay, and then you moved to St. Catherine.
Yeah. So what transpired is that I went to two primary schools. in Montego Bay, Bogill College and Barracks Road Primary. Then I matriculated to Cornwall College. In my second year at Cornwall College, my mother decided that we were always family. I was back and forth in Oldava because I have family here. My older brother who we normally visit in the holidays. However, my mother decided at some point that we would be transitioning to Oldava in 2004, just before Ivana came. I can't forget that.
Yeah.
And that's why I ended up at Oldava High. So I went to 2 primary schools, 2 high schools. I'm yet to go to 2 universities.
So a lot of education.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. And you are an advocate for education, right? I had.
Yeah, definitely. Growing up, I realized that we weren't wealthy. Let me put it that way. My mother never made it seem as if we weren't, but you would have been exposed to others and their lifestyle in their homes and stuff like that. So you realize that you weren't so well off as they were. And from a very tender age, funnily my sister, my mother used to travel and she had to hustle to make ends meet. So I grew up most of the time with my sister and the household, my older sister who lives overseas now, and she used to kill me with beating for take the books. I wasn't a regular boy child who go on the road and get little bussed and ride bicycle, and I never had that experience. However, she would have invested a lot of time in my book and had to do the book. And then when I grew older, I realized that I'm grateful to her because I saw the elevation of my life through academics and other stuff, of course, but academics was a big part of my journey in breaking the chain and breaking the cycle. I think I was the first male in my family to go to UWI. And there are a number of other things. I was the first footballer in the 21st century that I can speak of, who was deputy head boy at Oldava High and also matriculated to UWI. I don't know any other footballer in the 21st century that did that.
You see that?
Prior to me.
Yes. I love that. I love that you said that, because a lot of times young men, they are not able to sustain both. It's either they can't find a balance between both education and sports, and it is so important to have something to fall back on. It's very important.
It's super important, because I also realized.
Okay, so we're talking about striking the balance.
Yeah, so from a very tender age, I also realized I love football, and that's one of my passions. And I realized very late where that part is concerned, because I never really had serious injuries until I was 30. But I've always said from a very early age as a sportsman that what if you got an injury? What would happen after? What do you rally back on?
Yes.
And I think more sports personnel are getting it, because we're seeing a lot of them now matriculating to colleges overseas through the sports and academia combined. I'm seeing a better balance now. Back in my time,
it was all about the ball.
It was pretty bad, and I think it's not a lack of ability to do the academics and the sports. It was a matter of no focus on it, and they didn't see the value system in it.
Yes. Well, based on the fact that you are a football person, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Which club you rep?
It's strictly Manchester United.
Strictly Man U.
Strictly Man U.
Strictly Man U. And we're having a very good game on Sunday. Very good game. Yes. We're not gonna celebrate too early, but we are grateful.
I mean. Yeah. We're getting there.
We're getting there. All right. For fun, tell me something fun about you. What do you enjoy doing when you are not working? Any hobbies or any interests apart from football?
Definitely. Well, when I wasn't so weighty, I love the dancing.
Right.
I've always been someone who loves music. I always run a number of jokes to say that, boy, if life not to work out in a lot of stages, me turn a selector or something.
Selector? Let's say I go with the mic, man.
No, definitely not a DJ. But, if you ask my friends, I'm the life of the party when I'm around.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm in the social space with my friends, we have a group we call it Team Success, and we are young personals. We draw references from each other in terms of growth. So if somebody in the lot buy a house, we celebrate and we
Love
say
that.
we want to achieve that
Yes.
as well. It pushes us to
Yes.
want to achieve
Yes.
more.
So surrounding yourself with like-minded
Yeah.
persons. I love that.
I remember a past governor in Optimist stating unequivocally that if you want to go somewhere in life, or you want to reach a particular goal, find somebody who you can emulate and hitch a ride with that person.
Hitch a ride. I fully support that. As you spoke about Optimist Club, I was actually introduced to Obryan through the Optimist Club in Old Harbor. Actually, during my very difficult time in my life, somebody reached out to me and she said that this young man might be able to help you, and help he did. So when we talk about community engagement now, there's something else I need to tell you. There's a story I need to tell you. So the other day I'm doing my hair, right? So I was at the hairdresser and I was doing my hair, and then there was this lady. She was upset about everything that is happening in the country and things like that. And she said that she came to Jamaica to vote for Obryan during the last local government election. Mind you, she is not a member of the party that he is affiliated with. She is of a different party. She was brought up into a different space, but she said that what she saw was that how you have been helping persons in the community, things that you are doing with young men in terms of the football club, getting young men into schools and stuff like that. She was speaking so passionate about you, and I was sitting there, quiet like a lamb. I'm just laughing at myself a bit. I said, "Me know I am." Me know I am. I felt so proud to hear people the way that she was not the only person who was chiming in and speaking about you. I felt so proud being in that space and hearing your name being brought up in that light. I felt good. I felt like you were actually making a difference, even though I know of some of the programs that you are doing. I know about some of the things I've seen. This is not the first time that I'm hearing commendations, but I think the way in which these women were speaking about you, I was really like, this is a young man that is here to make a difference, and if he could get the support that he needs. So I want to talk to you about some of the things that you have been doing in your community and how you have actually reached some of these young boys.
All right, so the reality is that my voluntary journey started through Optimist when I was at UA. I would have done 14 plus years in Optimist International. And we're primarily focused on youth development and youth advocacy, spanning in various areas: sports, wellness, you name it, education. The reality is that I would have developed a love, and I say a love with a passion,
Right.
for helping persons. My upbringing also would have helped to shape that, but I got an opportunity through Optimist. I'll share a story with you quickly about Optimist and going to the others. While I was at UA, I think I was about the third president there, but I was president twice.
Right.
I remember getting up every Saturday morning, and college isn't easy. Saturday morning is when you get to do the chores and get like a relaxation, and then later in the night you have to beat books. The reality is that every Saturday morning, even after partying and on campus Friday night, I'd get up about 6 o'clock and I was picked up by an adult Optimist. I call her my Optimist mother, Optimist Hewlett. And she picked me up in Papine because I used to live off campus in Riverview. She picked me up in Papine. We go to Mountain View Primary, I can't forget. Every Saturday morning to do mentorship and tutoring. Now, I don't know how much of those kids will probably remember me in the latter life, but the reality is that I dedicated as a young man, out of all the members of the club, I mean, one and two would chime in, but every Saturday I dedicated my life to that. And it came back to help me in the latter stages of my university life. Because my mother lost her job during my last year. Was almost at the finish line, and now the rent need to pay. Well, school fee is covered by student loan, and that's something we'll probably have to talk about too, because the reality is that a lot of persons shun away from student loan. I'm a product of student loan, and I always say this: when you see colleagues at or students at UA running up and down and try to pay the semester and fees, and whenever have them troubles there.
Yeah, right.
Student loan cover that, and you know, as a person, have to honor that when you leave school.
So true.
You say, they make me comfortable, can focus on the schoolwork. Me just have to honor my obligation.
Right.
But we go back to the story. Mother losing her job and start get a little frustrated, of course. I remember going to a seminar for optimism. I think it was at Kingston Center, New Kingston Center there. And Optimist Hewlett saw me, and I wasn't my usual self. And she said, Obryan, come here. And she started to have conversation. Knowing me full of pride, me I hold back, and then me just say, this is the situation. And after I tell her some mother lose the job, and I probably have to go stop her, I have to go struggle now, and I'm not gonna wait for leave and all them stuff. She just say, yo, relax yourself. And she go and she talk to the same persons we used to conduct the mentorship and tutoring program on a Saturday, and say, Obryan, a situation. It's like, when you look, grocery come, rent a pay, lunch money. And what was amazing about it, I never broke down during the time any at all before telling them. My housemate used to say, boy, you're different because we're there so with you and we not even know the struggles where you go through, because you have a thing named Optimist Creed, and I kept reading it every single day. It's a powerful thing. Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. And I would go through it every day just to kind of keep me motivated and push me. When I brought the news to the persons I was leading Optimist Club at UMONA, that I was leading you guys happy and chirpy and make everything look all good and dandy, and they didn't realize that we did a struggle. Even during that time, that was when I learned about, like, would I call it food stamp?
Right.
At UWI. I never know that. Me I go UWI 3 years, and I know my last year I know about food stamp, where I start all bust my friend them on it, because I say, yo, you can go to SS, I think it's SSD or something like that name. The department that is a department where we have what cater to our needs. And you get them food stamp, and you can go a certain select places on campus and just present your food stamp and you get food. I'm open my doors to a lot of other persons, but never keep it to myself. Never selfish. Because to this day, I can say that some of those persons are still my friends. We might not see each other every day, but if we woke up or up on the phone, I mean, know them not forget. I know them not forget, some could have keep it to myself, and I didn't. So, as always, dedicated to helping and service. Always service above self for me. When I started what is now called the Life I Love Football Academy, gone about 4 years, I coach young men between the ages of 5 to 19 every Saturday morning at Old Glades, and I mentor them free of cost. Not one parent can say they ever spend $1 with me. I buy them juice, me so cook food for them. There's a lot of things, but over time it gets overwhelming in terms of the numbers. So we are moving from 15 players with 1 football to 10 football with 40 players, and growing every day. As a matter of fact, somebody just messaged me on TikTok, I don't know the person, asking me how them join the academy.
Lovely.
So it's a growing thing. There's a lot of things I'd want to do with the academy. I mean, it's burdensome on the pocket, but at the same time, I understand the value of it. If I should come tomorrow and say, this Saturday or next month, we'll be charging, a lot of those youngsters who are there will not be able to afford it. Their parents can afford it.
It is giving them something to do. And taking them off the street.
Definitely.
And even not even we're not even gonna go to the violence that is in our society, but the fact that they are outside getting that fresh air and sunlight, because
there's a deliberate reason why it was called Life Alone Football Academy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the unifying brotherhood that I'm trying to create.
Lovely.
These young men are from rival communities,
Yes.
various communities across the length and breadth of Old Harbour. I have players coming from Portmore right now every Saturday morning to me, and there's a lot of academies in Portmore. Why wouldn't he go there?
Mm-hmm.
I have kids who recently moved into housing schemes in Old Harbour who are there now. They go to the JC, they go to the Woolmans, the Calabar, you name it, they're there. I have kids coming to me from England, America, whilst they're on a little vacation here.
Wow.
They come to my program. And in the initial stages, I made pronouncements on my Facebook, and it came to pass that I would produce a national player. That national player is Alexander Bailey. Wow. He attends Glenmuir, and I would have played a pivotal role in his matriculation to Glenmuir. Alexander was at Old Harbour Primary. He would have passed his PEP for Bridgeport High, which was his first choice. And when he came to me prior to completing PEP and thing, I realized he was a special talent. We pushed him. I negotiated a lot with the management at Glenmuir, and I can proudly say I produced a Jamaica national already. And I just was recently told about 2 days ago by another player of mine who attends Excelsior High that he was called to trials for the Jamaica under 15 team. So the reality is that I'm not just shaping men of might, but I'm also transforming lives and transforming communities, because if my program, and it will continue for years to come, it will probably be one of the greatest factors to save our communities in Old Harbour. Because if a youth that comes to my program should ever think of being violent to one of his brothers now, he won't think twice.
Because they have built that bond.
And that is what I try to create, because they come rough around the edges. You have 3 hours or 2 hours with them on a Saturday. It's just one couple hours in a day in the whole week. They go back to the lifestyle that they live within their communities, within their homes. So it's not that easy to transform everything. But the reality is that
seed.
All I ask for is 2 things: discipline and respect. So if you don't have that, they go through my gate. It's just simple. And I realize that while they show me all of that, when they are around me, when they go outside, it's a different thing. But it won't happen overnight. There are a number of things that I want to do. I plan to partner with Kaluga to do like an etiquette program. Bring them on a little dinner thing and teach them knife and fork and all that stuff there. So it's not just about football. So it's not just about press the academics too. Because I keep telling them, the reality is that if 15, 20, 40 of us are here, 90% of us won't make it in football. It's the exception that will make it.
But the value is already planted.
Trust me.
The discipline to know that you have something to do every Saturday and you stick to that time. I think that is very admirable. What you are doing
for the working world too.
Man, I think that is admirable. 8
o'clock and need to reach before 8.
I think that is admirable. As we kind of like break from your service, you said service above self. As we break from that, I like that, by the way. What is 2 of your biggest political role models? Who are 2 of the persons that you really look on, and when you decided to go into politics?
Well, when I decided to go into politics, it was more about the people than political role models.
Love that.
Growing up, I was always a PJ Patterson person. I think it was the era that I grew up in. And then what I really liked about the Honorable PJ Patterson was that critics came, but he was always a statesman in responding. Or would respond none at all. And being in politics now, you realize that some things are said that I wonder how it even aligned to you. Persons try to create what Miss Kitty called manufactured beef with you, and you have to know how to respond You have to know how to shun, walk away. You have to know how to just sit back and watch sometime and and then make everything play out.
Right.
And then persons realize that you really never do nothing, you know, or nothing bad, you know, just people and try to create mischief. I am also a Damon Crawford kind of person. I think I'm a radicalist. I might be a little quiet sometimes, but if I should open my mouth, I'll be very radical. So I mean, it comes with political experience too.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure I'll get there. I probably won't become a Rasta in the future, but the reality is that I like his ideology, and if it means even standing up to his own party, because I remember in his very earlier years as a YO president, he did that.
Yeah.
You know, and I am about that because it's about principles first and party after. No one is bigger than the party, but the reality is that the principles must maintain and must be held high.
Yes.
So those are two persons I really, you know, look up to. I mean, Dr. Wall is a good person. He was the one that brought me into politics. So I'll always have maximum respect for him. And I thank him for the opportunity. I was really called by the people. Yes. I never chose politics. Politics chose me. I don't ever call myself a politician. I see myself as a leader. And I keep saying that some persons might be offended by it, but the reality is that I don't see myself as a politician. I see myself as a leader, a servant to the people, because politics has been cultured bad in our society. Politics should be service and not a profession.
I was just about to get to that question. You know, that was like my next question. See me read?
So
that was my next question. Okay. All right. So you said that it is more important to you to serve the community, serve Jamaica, than it is to be affiliated with being a politician, right? Because this is a service that drives you, right? I just want to ask you though, can you share one of the defining moments that really solidify your decision to enter politics at such a young age? Good night.
The reality is that at a young age, when I looked around in Old Harbour and I was asked the question by Dr. Wall, I was like, who better to do this than me? What do I have to lose? I have a lot to gain in terms of experience and exposure, and then I would have even more than that. I'd have an opportunity to do more than I was doing, because I mean, coming into politics, you come without resources if you don't have it already.
Yes.
And I came without resources, so I had to be very strategic. I had to draw attention and attraction. I say I'm a leader of attraction, and maybe that's why the lady responded like that, because I think that's what separates me from the average politician. I'm about service more than anything else. So the focus was always, how can I help more people by being in this role?
Right.
And when I looked at Old Harbour, I've always said in my campaign, I want to be the person who builds brand Old Harbour. There's a number of things that, I mean, it's one of the fastest, if not the fastest developing town in Jamaica. And the reality is that there needs to be a mindset shift in how to recreate, how to reposition brand Old Harbour and make it more lucrative.
Yes.
Persons can be coming into these new housing developments and they really don't support the businesses within the local.
Amen.
They don't even traverse within.
Yes.
So it's like the attractiveness of Old Harbour is not there.
Right.
You know, the town center needs to be restructured because congestion is a problem. If it is congested, nobody in the town, the new housing development that lives on the outskirts will really want to come in.
Right.
So we have to find a way how to extend the town so that persons can want to come in
and spend more time here.
Yeah.
Yes.
The revenue needs to be spent here. So bring in those entities that you have in town Portmore that will help to keep them here. You know, so there's a number of things. Sports is a big thing in Old Harbour. We have to tap into sports tourism here.
Right.
Because I come from Mobile, but really and truly when I came here I was like, them people don't love football and a bad ball on the day of Old Harbour. And when I started to play football I realized that Old Harbour Bay was the mecca of football.
Right.
Like from a born at all be you're automatically talented. I don't know if it's the fish with them eat or something, but there's something that is within that community that needs to be tapped into.
Yes.
How can we develop that brand to make it more fruitful and lucrative for the communities?
Lovely answer. So next question: what legacy do you hope to leave behind as a community leader? We're not as a politician again, as a community.
No, I mean, if you call me politician, I won't be offended, you know. The reality is that it's just how I view myself as a person. Well, there are a number of legacies that I will leave behind. I'm pretty sure that my academy will be spoken of for years.
Yes.
I host the biggest one-day football tournament for over 8 years in Moldova, and probably in Jamaica, if you ask me. You know, because if you don't really cheer for yourself, nobody will cheer for you,
right?
It's called Ballers Link Up. It's held every January 1. January 1 just concluded. It was 8 years. I started it from literally nothing, no resources, and it was just a vision.
Right.
And that's something that I have actually identified my success already. And tell him, say, big man, when I gone, you know, make sure this keep forever. You know, those are two things that will live on,
yes.
That exist. But I want to be known as a true servant for the people, philanthropist. I also want to be known as somebody who has character, somebody who's a role model to younger generation, to even older, because there are older persons that come to me and say, you know, I look up to you as a youth, you know. I want to be known as a representative who came in with a particular character and left with a particular character, none that is tarnished. I want to always hold firm to my values and attitudes. My mother, as she continues to be alive, must be able to say that that's my son, he's doing well. I mean, I want to win. I want to show that what I'm capable of.
Right.
Put it that way. Because without the opportunity, I'll be unable. So I hope that one day I'll be able to represent the people of Moldova, and not just people of Moldova, but Jamaica, because I have ambitions to one day probably be the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and there are a number of persons.
Round of applause.
You know,
yes.
When you're a leader, you have to have ambition. When you are somebody with vision, you should have ambitions, because when we were going to school, you know, them always tell you aim for 100, and if you fall short, you probably never fall too far. You know, so I've started at the lowest level, which is at the local level, to try to be the counselor.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that with due time, with due service, persons will continue to take me seriously and realize that I am consistent. I mean, I lost an election February last year, not even 1 year, and I'm still out there doing the funerals, doing the setup.
That was literally going to be my next question, and I'm not joking.
Tell you I'm a perfect.
Because what I wanted to ask is this: the election concluded this week, and I saw that you have lost that election, right? But the next week, I see all kind of something same way in the community, here, there, and everywhere. And I was looking at it like I saw you at my grand uncle's setup night. You were there. You never seen it, but we did see it though. Yeah. So you were there, and I was looking at it. I even said it to my husband, like, this is what we need. This is what we need. This is not about getting the votes and campaigning. So what I was seeing was not just you on the campaign trail, but this was after you have lost. And that was something. So this question is a two-part fold. You said it is service above everything, which basically answers what you were doing out 1 week after you just lose, right? And two, I want to ask, like, what drives you? What motivates you? You get kicked down, dust out, but yet still. Well, the smile was there.
I beg to differ on the kick down. I'm a first time politician at the age of 35, and I must I was too short of 1,300 votes.
Yes.
That's not a
I
boy
just
thing.
mm-hmm.
That was actually positive. I mean, I was dejected at some point because I would have run in election at UA for social sciences rep, and I told myself that was the last time I'd lose an election. However, I'm in the real world, and I understood the kind of task that I took on. If you looked at my opponent's numbers in his previous election, he polled 2,700 maths. Now he polled about 1,800.
Right.
And I was looking at it and said that's a big positive, because I was able to close the gap and to lessen his numbers somewhat. Some persons might not accredit it to me, but I'm pretty sure in a predominantly strong GLP division, and
Yes.
I was able to pull those numbers.
We talk about challenges. As human beings, we have all experienced challenges at different levels in our lives. So apart from losing the last is it local election, you call it? Local election, forgive my ignorance. Local election, what is like one of the other challenges that you have faced in your life?
Because
Something that you had overcome.
yeah, I mean, when I go to schools, I usually, well, a couple schools will have a high. I think I've told the story. I think I've told the story at Boys Content. In my early years, when I moved to Oldava and living at Patrick Street, I remember during my CSEC years, 2007, I think it was, I always tell people that I passed all my subjects. I was actually the academic boy for the year, the graduating class. And I didn't have electricity at home in Patrick Street.
Oh, wow.
And it is something that even residents at Patrick Street don't know. So they would see me under the street light studying, but they didn't have a clue why. They maybe just thought that some people say, people think shallow minded, and just want to show up saying that study. Some people might think that I wanted fresh air. They might think various things, because I really don't know what's going through their head. I'm gonna say this to say to even the younger generation that you guys have all the gadgets in the world. I see kids I keep just me on some real life. I think it's one of the things that affected my eyesight.
Yeah.
I had to study on the lamp too.
Oh my.
I'm at that 2007.
We call it lamp there. Bucket torch lamp or the sweet old lady.
Sweet old lady. The bucket torch. We never read so far.
I love that. I love that story. I think we have all experienced things differently, and
so some persons might think that we grew up with all this luxury and
humble beginnings. Humble beginnings.
I don't really love TV. I mean, I don't done to tell you the truth. And I remember going to school. I remember maths class was a class in particular. My best friend, Zach Cavalier, he was my best friend from that time till now. He and Christopher Cummings, which was another friend of mine who used to play football for a while. They used to actually tell me what's on the board, because from that time I realized that I had eyesight challenges.
See. Yeah.
We used to sit on a box, so I used to be a rush to go to Mr. Clark class. He was the best math teacher produced in catching at that time. So a lot of persons used to rush to go to the class, and we'd probably reach a little later than them. Maybe because my foot was short, I don't know. But I am grateful for those two persons, because whilst I could not visibly or clearly see what was on the board, we weren't blind, but we couldn't make out everything. They were able to tell me what's there, and we passed maths flying color for anything, I must have never failed, whether it be primary, basic, high school, university. Failure is never an option.
Um, Wonderful. So I want to ask you something though. I like to believe that everybody have this driving force, this guiding light, this north star, right? Do you have a quote or a code that you live by?
Um, your potential is the limit, and your potential is limitless.
Repeat again. Repeat again.
Your potential is the limit, and your potential is limitless. I tend to say this when I go to various schools to do presentation. I like is like a charge for the kids.
Yeah.
You know, because we grew up hearing that the sky is the limit, and it was through reading that I realized that the sky have a limit. So really a potential because, for instance, we're in the age of smartphones, but we were once in the age of the Nokia phones that weren't smart.
What?
So your
The flip phone?
potential, you know,
Yeah.
we talk about Alexander Bell and,
Yes.
and the developments over the years, innovation. So it's really a potential that's a limit, you know, and a potential is limitless. So it's really what you want to do in life that will get you to where you really want.
Yeah. Good. So next question, and we're winding down now. I want to ask you, where do you see? I know people always ask us like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are aside from running for office? What is one major goal that you hope to accomplish?
Um, the reality is that within the next 5-10 years, well, probably not even put it that far. I should be happily married.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The family is very important. I'd like to own business. I have tried business entrepreneurship before. At a smaller scale. Yeah, there's a trial and error, and it worked for a while until I would even want to discuss that. I don't know. I want to be a businessman. I think I have a lot of potential, as I said, talents that I could utilize. I really want to be known as somebody who is a visionary and a cycle breaker, somebody who will do things that will impact person's life continuously. I want to see my academy grow to a level where it is recognized on a national scale. I'm pretty sure we'll get there with the national players that will come through the ranks.
Yes.
I want to see ballers link up grow to heights that I've never brought it before. I want to be able to do things for my mother, so I hope that she continue to live.
Yes.
So that she'll be able to reap the rewards that she deserves. So those are things that I look at. As I say, outside of the political scope, I want to be renowned as a philanthropist in Jamaica and the world, of course. So we'll have enough wealth so we can really do some impactful things. Maybe that's why I want to become a businessman, so I can probably move away from the 9 to 5 lifestyle, which I don't think will make me rich, you know. But it's a part of the journey, a part of the process. I'm into sales or digital. I'm a business account manager, and the reality is that I'm learning skill sets there that I'm pretty sure that will be beneficial to me in the long run.
Yeah, and that is commendable, and it's something that we all should aspire to. You know, take what you can to build your dream, however that you can take it.
Everywhere is just a part of the journey.
Yeah. You spoke a little bit about your aspiration to getting married and having that family unit. How do you balance work? That's the 9 to 5. Your political life, all of the dead yard and 9 and of course your personal life.
I was waiting for that question. The reality is that anybody that's my partner has to be somebody who's understanding. They have to understand the complexities that come with the road. Politics will tend to, if you are really in depth in it will give you little or no time to really have family bonding time. But we alluded to a word earlier, balance. Striking the balance. So I would have been striking a balance in my earlier years, and it's tougher now because a lot of times when you go to these functions, events, you come in really exhausted.
Yeah.
And it's that level of understanding that will continue to drive you. I'm not telling you that it's easy, and I guess that's why most politicians are married, because
You need that
reality,
stability.
yeah, and you don't really need nobody where I could create any animosity after all of the frustration. Because imagine dealing with 9,000 constituents, which technically we're not dealing with. So if I'm being logical, you literally face on a month-to-month basis over 1,000 constituents, varying personalities, varying needs, varying demands. Don't forget that word.
Yes.
And you have to know how to treat the situation. Then you have internal sprats as well that will cause animosity, give you headaches. But what I try to do, I can't invest everything into one sphere of my life.
Yeah.
I mentioned team success, and I must big them up. They're a critical part of my social life.
Yeah.
So they understand the rigors that I go through in politics, and they ensure that I have a social life. So they will stop me at some point and say, hey, we got yesterday's, and get the ticket, and then just know something for present myself at XYZ time. You know, we go into teacup, we go into you name it.
Yeah.
But those are the kind of events that are a little more relaxing for me. I mean, I love the dancehall, but the reality is that I can't afford to turn up in a party 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and work
the next day.
I can't do it. It's unfortunate. We used to do it, but the dynamics of my life is different. Politics also creates that space where you have to be aware of your surroundings. Once you become a politician, then I will use the word paranoid. You get paranoid because you have to expect anything. I mean, there's not a lot of history of politicians being attacked, but you're always on your P's and your Q's when it comes on to where you go. What I do, and some persons might see me at a particular spot. No, and I move within no time. I just follow my mind.
Yes.
And I've always been that person. So I really haven't deviated much from my normal life. So once I'm at a space and I feel uncomfortable for a second, I got. And the reality is that it's tiring, but I always say what keeps me into politics is that if I should leave politics now, persons who really need the help won't get the help.
Won't get the help.
Because you can ask anybody, I try to spread the help. I'm from Project Street, and a lot of persons think that when I was coming into politics that my focus would always be on Project Street. And I've shown that that is not the case. Sometimes I think Project Street people probably feel like I neglect them, but the reality is that there's a stigma out there, and I have to reshape and refocus and let them have an understanding that this is not the case. Just like, for instance, I was elected as a councillor. I don't just serve PNP, I serve everybody. And that's the reality. And that is something that I pride myself on. I mean, it probably won't be a similar treatment versus a PNP versus a JLP, because the reality is that when a PNP worker goes out in the field and does everything that is required for you, you have to show them some level of loyalty. And I believe in that. Loyalty is a very important part of my life. I have had my best friend from high school at Olaga High till now, and it shows a level, as I said, consistency, loyalty. You realize those words keep coming up. Just mighty that.
You spoke highly about team success and how team success has been influential to your growth as a young man, and not just as a politician, not just as a community leader, but as a young man and an all. You spoke about your friendship, your circle, and how they have been instrumental in that. One of the questions somebody asked me the other day is that in your 30s, navigating your 30s now, how do you maintain that friendship? Because we have changed, our conversations are now different.
Yeah.
So how do you maintain that friendship? So we still have the kiki moments, but we have people who are uplifting us, you know, or speaking life into us.
Yeah, and that's natural in life. Your circles will probably change as you grow older. But as I said, with team success, the reality is that we're like-minded. Everybody is trying to grow at each step. So, for instance, there's an entrepreneur in the group. There is a police in the group. Three of us work between sales and marketing. You know, so we have like-mindedness. I mean, sometimes the discussions in the group are what kind of business we can open together based on our skill set.
Yeah.
Police are obviously responds to the security, you know. Me and Tenny responds to the sales.
Yeah.
You know, the marketer did it. And the entrepreneur, somebody who's into IT, so all of the repairs and all of the things him can do that.
Right.
You know, so we try to find business ideas that can span from there. I name the group Team Success, you know. And the reality is that I see us as young, successful persons. Even if we don't get there in the essence of the word, is the reality is that we're aspiring to be that kind of person or be those kind of persons. You know, so yeah.
Lovely. So one of the things that drives you or help to build you, or you have the foundation that was laid out by your mother. You keep making reference back to your mother, as well as the relationship that you have cultivated over the years, whether it be through politics or otherwise. One thing I want to ask though, where's God in this? Are you a religious person?
Yeah, man. The reality is that it's a funny story. I was baptized when I was 8. In Montego Bay, New Testament, you know. And I remember my mother always telling the story. I go in the water to get baptized and come sit down on mother lap on the wet clothes. And I think it was a crusade in Moby. I was somebody who was a Bible studies type, like Bible quiz. I mean that, you know, that's where I think most of my football developed, because I used to play football for the church. I played football for all our New Testament, win championship as well. New Testament has always been my church. I mean, over time, I deviated, but I always tell people that once you grow in the church, you'll return.
The roots is there.
Yeah. I've never stayed far away from church. Maybe that's why I love the funeral and the thing them so much. But the reality is that I am a God-fearing person. Mother grew me that way, the family grew me that way, the auntie, the uncle, them. You know, my family rooted and grounded in another Christianity. It can be challenging as a politician because you have to be flexible and go in a lot of spheres. But it's not impossible to be a Christian and a politician. You know, but yeah, the balance I got sometimes hard for strike. Sorry, because you have to go into certain spaces. And that's just the reality. But church began that. Always I pray. If I'm going at night time, I pray before I go to bed. Wake up, prayer, you know.
Very good.
Work, prayer. My mom used to be a tax officer, whatever. We used to pray when we reach in. You know, because the reality is that evil exists. You know, and persons out there pray praying, you just don't know. And that's why I always say follow my spirit, and once it's a move, my move. You know, so yeah, man. Very, very religious. Strong on the religious part.
Lovely. I think we have basically answered most of the questions that I have. We even went way beyond what we initially set out to discuss. I think we had a very well-rounded conversation. I did enjoy speaking with you on this subject. Remember, when you reach up a big house, remember someone did see him here first. Remember that you saw him here first. When I talk about you, when I think about you, I've always said doctor. For some reason, I don't know why, but I'm speaking life into that. I know that whatever the plans of the Lord is, it is sure. I just want to thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And as I said, there are persons within our age group who are doing wonderful things. It is, you know, it is our duty to highlight those things. And I must commend you on behalf of our community for the wonderful work that you have been doing. We are so grateful to have you as a part of the general service of the community. And we just want to thank you and just encourage you to keep going, because even though, you know, the road is not easy and the trials will come, the fact that you're out there and you're putting yourself out there, you're doing what many, including myself, would never do. I have to commend you, I have to give you thanks and big you up for that. But thank you so much for being here, Dr. Obryan.
I mean, when I become Prime Minister,
yeah, right. Them time we have studio.
Yeah, so
yes, friend.
Keep
Studio
going,
of them time there. yes.
Before I go, I just want to thank Azure Lounge for hosting us today.
Yes.
It's in Clermont Heights, Level. So if you ever want a private space to have a drink,
do they have an Instagram?
I'll get it after.
Link it.
You know.
Link it down below.
So it's Azure Azure. Yeah. Nice little space.
Nice little space, right?
Out that road,
yes. Chill spot.
Cool.
Lovely.
Cool.
Trust me. Thank you so much again for being here. God bless y'all. What God. Until next week, where we explore other stories that impact or inspire. We just want to say thank you. God bless y'all. Take care.